Hey guys, welcome back to yet another YouTube video here on my YouTube channel. And in this video, we're going to be working on a new frame of mind that I want you guys to try out. I personally have not tried this in my own competitive experience. I sort of ran into it recently and I thought it would be a really cool idea to introduce it to you guys here on my channel and to see what you guys think, okay? And I would love to hear like what your thoughts are on this and sort of like if this is true, do you disagree, do you agree? And I found this like improvement ebook online and I sort of took the quote from here. So let me just show you right away, and I think you guys will be very interested in it. Obviously, we have Fortnite in the background. I'll show you a bunch of examples right away, right after this. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what is this, right? What do I have written here? So let's talk about it, right? We'll read it through and we'll explain the whole thing. The first thing is this is a frame of mind to show you how to improve the fastest. So actually what we should do right away is just like have a header up here, right? Like how to improve the fastest. Literally. And I'm sure this is something that a lot of people are interested in, right? This is why you're on my channel. Like, how do you improve the fastest? A lot of people have this backwards, right? They think that the improvement is based on time played. They think it's correlated with, you know, grinding, like just Fortnite in general. I don't think so. I think absolutely it's beneficial, but there's benefit in doing the right things as well. But more importantly, your conscientiousness while you're playing Fortnite. How conscious are you? I've talked about this in a previous video actually, where I talk about intentional practice and deliberate practice, and then show you an example where a piano teacher is talking about the exact same thing, but truly it must be real. It's not something I'm making up. This is actually very common in sort of you know, scientific papers online about improvement. It's being conscious while you're practicing. Very proven concept, and this is very similar. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is the frame of mind, right? This is the concept. So every player starts off with a board of red lights. That's what the first line says. Now what does this mean? Okay. Each time an interaction occurs and you understand why you won or lost that interaction, aka a sort of fighting scenario, an end game scenario, why did you lose and why did you win? Now it's important you notice that like, a lot of people sort of only look at what they lost, or like why did they lose, like what did I do here that I lost, but no one actually looks at why did they win, right? So there's a differentiation there. Like, I feel like a lot of people sort of don't pat themselves on the back when they win, and also they don't think consciously why did they win. And I think that's important because it's easier to reinforce your good habits that way. And a lot of people sort of ask the question, like, how do I apply the things that I learned? Like, I can do it like once, but then it goes away. Like, what am I doing wrong? The thing that you're doing wrong is you're not critically thinking about the things that you're doing right. So every time you win an arena fight, every time you win a scrim, every time you do well in a scrim, actually, because even if you get top 3, you did something right, surely you should actually think back and see, you know, like, why did I win that fight? And that will absolutely help you out in terms of maintaining those good habits. Okay, so I mean, this frame of mind is very simple. So, like, every single time you win a fight, every single time you win an end game, this is how it works, right? This is like a sort of a concept. Those red lights of this exact scenario turns green, right? And then that's like check mark, that's ticked off the list. I know how to do this scenario now, right? This setup, now I know how to play this because I've done it before, right? And yes, it gets better and better over time. It reinforces, it gets better, but you know, you have that, you finally understand why it's good to do said thing. Okay, so the players that improve the most efficiently are the ones who convert their board to green lights the fastest. Okay, most amount of green lights that you have on your board, that's how good you are. You understand, right? So that's something that you should absolutely try to implement in your game and sort of think about. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna hop into my island and I'm gonna show you a couple scenarios where this is absolutely possible to think about it this way. Okay, so the first scenario that I'm gonna show you is a very simple one. Okay, so if someone is in this box, like I full box them, and he's peeking, he's looking at me, this is the scenario, right? You have someone full box, they're looking at you. What are you going to do? Very simple scenario, right? A lot of people would immediately do something like this, or like something like this, or like something like this especially, and then they get hit and they ask themselves, okay, why did I get hit? Why did I lose? The answer is you're not doing a proper peek, right? And you can do this as long as you do a proper peek. You stand back here, or you notice they're looking off to the side and you do this. Like, there's different ways to sort of answer this scenario, and they're all red lights. You have to understand, this is not a one red light. There's several red lights here where you have to understand, like, maybe he's looking out to the side, maybe he's pickaxing the back wall like this while you're looking at him. In that case, it's better to edit and shoot while he's unaware, and sometimes it's better to do a peek while they're looking at you, okay? And then reset after so you don't shade back. Like, there's this very simple scenario. Now let me show you a very advanced scenario, something different. Okay, let's say I'm in a box, right, and then someone is trying to exploit in like this, right? A lot of people would immediately be like, oh, like I should just get out, right? I should try to get out. But there is an answer here. There is a green light that you can set up, right? If you truly understand why this works. So if he exploits in with pickaxe, okay, this is a very specific scenario, but let's say this is the case. Exploit in with pickaxe like this, right? they have gun swap delay when they do that. Obviously, what they're going to do is they're going to exploit it with pickaxe and pull out their gun like this. But there's a delay, and you can sort of pre-fire them if they, especially if they don't notice you have their gun out. You're looking like this. As they're coming in, let's say they break the wall, they jump in. You shoot, hold in case they SMG through, and then dip out the side. Either side, whichever one you want, right? You dip out the side, and you're chilling. This is where the idea comes from. Like, how do you rapidly start getting green lights and sort of knock off all these scenarios and really make sure you experience as many as possible, but more importantly, understand what's going on, right? Because if you don't understand what's going on, it will not go green. It will stay red. Experience itself does not necessarily mean you've ticked off that thing. You have to understand what's going on and then eventually apply it as well. But just for the sake of the argument, just understanding it. Why does it work? And what is the correct move? And why is this correct? Okay. So first thing to understand is if you want to rapidly get green lights, you have to understand the fundamentals of the game. That is period. True fact. Okay. What am I talking about? Why do I know I can make this play? When someone jumps in like this, why do I know I can make this play? It all revolves around gun swap delay. I've talked about this topic so many times on my channel for good reason, because it's a fundamental of the game, and I would absolutely love if you guys understood this with me right here. So for those of you guys who are new to my channel and don't really understand gun swap delay, here's the reason, right? Every sort of time you sort of switch from any other thing, including blueprint, into a gun, there's a delay, right? So if someone wants to jump in your box, the only way they would have no gun swap delay is if they did this, right? Now you have to understand, you can't really pre-fire someone doing that reliably. It's kind of scary, especially if you're 1 HP. But if you notice them sort of swinging their pickaxe like this, which you absolutely should be noticing because you should be reading their opponent, you should be aware of what the opponent's doing, and you notice they're doing this, they have gun swap delay. It's very safe actually, as long as you mechanically execute it properly and fast enough. If they break the wall like this, you shoot the and dip out the side, right? But there's no real danger in this, except for maybe they spray out the wall right here, which is really after editing. Like, there's stuff like that, right? But that's the point. That's the idea. I would love for you guys to sort of think about, you know, practicing Fortnite in this way, because Fortnite is very much actually this statement, right? It was written for Super Smash Bros, which is very much a combination game, which Fortnite is, right? If you think about, like, what is a 90, right? What is a 90? It's a combination. And what is full boxing someone? It's a combination, right? And then you have a set amount of combinations that you can respond with. Now, the first thing to understand is, like, how do you know all of this scenario? There's so many. Yes, you should practice. This is why people recommend doing volume of work and experiencing as many as possible. But the problem is, so many people have it backwards, right? They try to do volume of work without understanding the game first, which is why this whole channel exists. I want to explain the game to you. I want to explain the fundamentals for you so that when you do experience the scenario, it doesn't stay red because you don't understand what's going on. It goes from red to green, and then you tick it off your checklist and move on to the next scenario. And then when you run into a scenario that you already have green, you know exactly what to do. Even if you mechanically misplay, you know what you should have done, and actually you're trying to do it in game because you understood it from a previous experience. And it's an important keyword, right? You understood it. A lot of people sort of experience things, don't really know what they should have done or why they should have done it, and then they don't do it later on because they haven't convinced themselves that it's correct, right? This is why understanding the game from the beginning is very, very important, and this is how you rapidly improve from whatever stage you're at to a very, very good state. So consciousness, very, very important to critically think about the game and actually understand why are things happening the way they are. And you have to understand this is not just a fighting concept with this red light, green light thing. This is very much true for end game. Any game sense topic that we can talk about, this is true. So for example, I'll draw another thing, right? Let's say you're in heats of FNCS, very, very stat game, very high elo game, and you are very, very experienced at this, okay? So there's two sort of red lights that a lot of people don't really understand. This is very macro, very high level, very sort of broad view, okay? Let's talk about this. I know it's a little bit rectangular, but ignore it for now. Let's say this is first zone, and you landed condo, which is honestly down here, right? This is where condo is. Let's say there's two red lights, okay? Two red light scenarios in this situation, okay? First red light, second red light. Here's the idea. You fight off spawn, and you don't fight off spawn, and win, and uncon, aka you don't fight off spawn. Right, so let's say we start off on this one, right? The second one down here. You're uncon, you don't fight off spawn, and there's surge. There's literally 87 people alive, okay? Let's say this. In this specific scenario, you have to understand that it is not justified for you to do this and do a dead side rotate. Take a car, Lambo with tires, and you do a full dead side rotate like this and end up on here. Why? Because there's surge. You can't be doing this if you're in scenario number 2 because you don't have surge off spawn. You need to get surge. This is very important, right? So you can't be doing this. You don't unlock dead side until you have surge solved, because if you go there, you're pretty much dead in second zone because you're gonna die to surge. Very simple, right? So until you realize that you have to sort of go for a hill very early and actually sometimes give up loot or mats to get to a hill in a very high elo game, because everyone else is trying to do the same thing, you absolutely have to understand, hey, maybe I want to take this hill that's right here. I don't actually know if there's a hill there on the real map, but whatever. For the sake of this argument, we'll just assume there's a hill there. You get to a hill here, it has very good sidelines on congested side, and you're gonna get a bunch of tags in this area, and then sort of unlock, you know, going wherever you want, because you got like 200, 300 surge. You're gonna be a little bit better in this specific game. So then in this case, this would turn green. Check. You understand what to do, and you're actually doing it as well. Next thing, a lot of people fight off spawn and win, right? In that specific case, you need to actually go dead side. Let's say you get like, I don't even know, like 600 damage, right, off spawn because you killed them. Then you get a 2v2 and you win, right? In that specific case, it doesn't make sense to purposely grief yourself and go into a position where it becomes harder and harder to rotate. If circle goes here, this is not an easy rotate. In that case, you would want to go dead side. You take the long rotate, even tanking first storm if you need to. This is very important. Now that you found the correct solution, this becomes green, right? It's a very simple idea. Now you need to knock off as many scenarios, and actually, very important part, actually understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you do not understand what you're doing or why you're doing it, do not just move on. Right? That's the thing that most people commonly do. They just move on and pretend like nothing went wrong. Like, okay, like I'm just gonna continue playing the game and I'm gonna continue practicing mindlessly. Learn, right? Actually think about what's going on. Give yourself a reason. Like, ask questions about the game to yourself and to your peers and your teammates. Think, right? Very, very important that you do this. Otherwise, these lights will remain red. You understand? And you're not actually improving. This is the sort of idea that a lot of people, like, you know, put a lot of time in and don't improve. Now, it's important that you don't just come up with willy-nilly reasons. The reasons actually have to be accurate. Right? This is why this channel exists, like I said before. This is why it's here to help you and sort of give you guys insight into the game and sort of give you game sets behind the scenes, and sort of help you guys understand the accurate reasons as why you're doing something, like peaks, like dead side rotates, like sort of going for surge strats. But either way, this is just a way to think about it. If you really want to improve, first step is really understand what you're doing, and then next step, do that for as many red lights as possible, many different scenarios in other words, and knock them off of your to-do list. This is just a new way to think about improving, and I would love for you guys to sort of try this out. Take some time to understand. It's very much worth it, and you will succeed. I promise you. You will definitely improve much faster than you are currently, and I think this is a very, very important lesson for most people watching this video. Either way, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's a very serious one. I think that you guys will sort of change your mindset after this. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.